Mr. Dave here from Geeky Guys, and welcome to another episode of 18 Days Till Halloween, 18 horror movies and 18 horror movie reviews. Today I've just watched and we will be looking at the 2023 psychological horror film made and created, written in Australia, called You'll Never Find Me. Very interesting one. Wasn't quite sure what to expect from it. Written and directed by Indiana Bell, and also directed by Josiah Allen as well. Also produced by Indiana Bell, and also Jordan Cowan, who's one of the main cast members in the film, or is also down as a producer. So that's interesting. You see a lot more of that these days, of like actors becoming producers or EPs, executive producers. Generally tends to be people, sort of legacy actors or actors that have done a lot of popular stuff, or actors very late on in the career. But this is actually quite a young actor that's been given a production role, so that's quite cool. That's very interesting to see. But basically the film centres on an Australian trailer park, very like the ones you see in America and the US. And there's a big storm. There's a guy called Patrick, the main character, who's played by Brendan Rock, and he's sat there alone, kind of looks a bit troubled, looks like he's there with his radio and his alcohol and his strange vial of clear liquid. So it's like, is this going to be like a suicide kind of film, or what's going on? So it basically features on him. There's a lot of strange noises. He's got people knocking on his door and then running away, not being there, and he's not very amused. He kind of seems to be a guy with, ended up on his own. You're not quite sure at the start of the film, but it seems like a very kind of sad individual that's dealing with a lot. And the film is a lot about sort of reflecting on your past, running away from the past, hiding from the past, and then not being able to do that, and things eventually catching up with you. You know, there's no way you can hide, as in with the title of the film, You'll Never Find Me. It's kind of like, it's kind of exploring that, reflecting and running away and hiding from things you've done or things you haven't done, and things that you regret about the past. So there's a lot of that in the movie. There's a lot of dialogue that's on those themes as well. And now this guy gets a strange visitor. In fact, the character's called the visitor in the credits list. As I say, played by the also producer Jordan Cowan. I would have to say both of these actors put in an amazing performance. It could be one of those films, because it's quite slow and things build very slowly, and suspense builds slowly and chills build slowly, that people could get a bit bored with and turn off after 10 minutes. But because they're so engaging, because their chemistry together is so good, you just keep watching because you want to know what's going on. And there's kind of this thing of where you don't know whether he's the mysterious bad one with things to hide, or is she the mysterious bad one that we've got to worry about. And as it goes through the film, there's certain things he says that doesn't make sense, there's certain things she says that doesn't make sense, and so you kind of all the way through not quite sure what's what and what's going off. There's a very kind of storm of the century, perfect storm kind of vibe, and awful wind and rain that even the main character comments on, that we don't have storms like this time of year. It's really weird. So that's really ominous, and that is kind of the backdrop through the whole film. We have the little snippets of like songs and things playing on the radio, even though at some points there's no power, which is really weird. So it very much has that kind of the perfect storm kind of vibe. It kind of has a Stephen Kingy kind of vibe, where it's basically a two-hander with two characters, and they're kind of bouncing off each other, and kind of it goes both ways. There's certain bits where you think, oh, he's a bit bad, saying that, or she's a bit bad doing that, and it kind of switches between the two. It's very interesting, and there's kind of like little flashbacks to like him in a car with somebody knocking on his window asking to get into the car or asking for his help. There's flashbacks to a radio with a sleepwalk song. I'm not sure who it's written by or performed by, but that's playing. That kind of snippets of that appear throughout the film as well as the backdrop, and it becomes apparent why later on. I don't want to say too much about the film, because I think if you haven't seen it, it would spoil it if I gave too much away. But it kind of has that, the lead character kind of has the vibe of like the old sea captain, the old sea dog, the old lighthouse keeper, kind of stuck in a lonely, dark, quiet place with raging seas, raging storm, raging wind, raging rain. Very much has that vibe, and even in the cabin there's like model ships, and you kind of start thinking that there is that vibe about it, and then it turns out that that's nothing to do with anything. He makes out used to be an electrician or something. So it kind of goes all over the place, and I think it's purposefully done like that, so you're not quite sure what's going on, you're not quite sure who's the one to be worried about, if any of them or both of them or one of them, you just don't quite know. But it's a very entertaining film, as I say. Even though it's very chilling, the dialogue is very interesting and very intense at times. There's some even kind of more emotional, sadder, kind, nice moments as well, in moments during the film. So yeah, if you kind of like those kind of films that's kind of like reflecting and a lot of dialogue and not a lot of action or anything like that, but just kind of two minds against each other and building up to something at the end, then that's a good one for you. And it is a very good ending as well. It is worth the wait as well. It does all come together quite nicely at the end. Parts are shocking, parts you kind of realise that you should have seen earlier, a little clues to it, so that's always quite a nice payoff as well that there is in there. Get a few payoffs, and yeah, I would say that it's well worth watching. It's not an overly long film. It's actually 99 minutes, so that is not too bad at all. And yeah, I would say it's just a very good film to watch. It's got a reasonable score on Rotten Tomatoes and Metacritic. If that's anything, they kind of say it's pretty good. And yeah, I enjoyed it, and I think a lot of people will like it as well. So go check it out. If there's anything that we've missed that you would like to mention, put it down in the comments. Obviously, don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the bell, and so you won't miss any of our content. And yeah, I'll be back tomorrow with another horror movie review. We'll see which one I go for. If there's any that you would like me to review in the next week, drop us a message in the comments or messages on any of our social media platforms. We're on most of them: Facebook, X, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, YouTube community page. So yeah, we're pretty much on all the main ones, so let us know on there. And otherwise, I'll see you tomorrow for another horror movie review for the lead up to Halloween 2025.